Evening, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Education meeting. We started at 7 o'clock, had to go close executive session. And now, next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Mr. Beers.
Okay, so I'd like to ask the board and everyone in the audience to please join me in honoring Jacqueline Hurley from Eisenhower Intermediate School, who's one of our teachers, who's named one of the New Jersey DOE's exemplary educators for 2024. Stand there while I talk about it. Okay. Mrs. Hurley is one of 160 teachers throughout New Jersey to receive this award. She's a Bridgewater native, graduated from Bridgewater-Raritan High School in 2001. I'm feeling really old right now. And she attended Bridgewater schools from pre-K all the way through high school. She's in her 19th year at Eisenhower School, where she teaches 5th grade math, science, and social studies. And she was also named the Governor's Educator of the Year Award winner for Eisenhower during the 2023-24 school year. So again, Jacqueline, congratulations on receiving another award and being an excellent representative for the Bridgewater-Raritan Regional School District. And I ask everyone to join me in a round of applause for Mrs. Hurley.
Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated.
So now, can we all go downstairs for a photo in front of the logo? Let's do it. Okay, thank you for your patience, everyone. So as we know, this is our last Board of Education meeting of 2024, and I think it's always a good time to take a step back, look at the things we've accomplished as a group and as a district, and also, not shy away from what's coming up in 2025. As I've said over and over, I think this Board of Education, this community, our faculty, staff, administrators have quite a bit to be proud of as we review what transpired in 2024. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to take a few minutes to go through some of the major areas of accomplishment and what we're looking forward to in the future. So if we recall, we finished 2023 with completion of our district climate survey. In 2024 is really when we analyzed the results, all right, and provided feedback to our faculty, our staff, our administrators. And the Board of Education received a report as well last December on the results of this climate survey. In turn, we use this data to set building goals and really do what we can moving forward to improve the climate in each and every school in our district. And one of the benefits of the New Jersey Sky program and New Jersey Sky platform is that this data could be aggregated by school. So it wasn't just one district-wide survey. We can actually look at that data on a school-by-school basis. Yeah, we kicked off 2024 with our strategic planning on 3 separate occasions, February 6th, the 29th, and March 6th. We all met to determine a path forward for the school and for I shouldn't say the school, the district as a whole. And we felt that this was an important endeavor because we had just passed a massive referendum. The district was moving in a different direction, and it was really our opportunity to take feedback from our stakeholders and use that to set goals as an organization. I've got links on the presentation, which I'll share with everyone following this. Our strategic plan, which is easily found on the website, and the presentation that we gave, 6 months ago. And once more, this whole process really helped us with our goal setting process for 2024-2025 school year. And just to reiterate some of those goals that we set, to create a culture emphasizing student achievement, diversity, and inclusion, to provide opportunities that enable students to become active citizens and contributing members of society. And we want to really move away, and we're working towards moving away from a deficit model. And what that means is as follows. If we have students from all walks of life, and we'll use a primary example of ESL students who may come from various parts of the globe. We need to look at students for the value they bring, right? And for the talents they have, being that they're bilingual, instead of any deficits they may have at the given moment. So we've got to really look at the full potential of all students within our classrooms. Another goal was finance and facilities. In creating an optimal learning environment for our students, we'll create a culture of pride, ownership, and accountability in our facilities. We're moving towards that. So we know the referendum 2023 is a $155 million project that's going to take between 4 and 5 years to complete every project on the list. But as we'll see tonight on the agenda, we've got quite a few things going on, and there's more coming up in 2025. Going back to climate and culture, one of our goals was to develop, support, and cultivate the whole child and diverse nature of our district by enhancing a cohesive and supportive learning environment. That means celebrating the achievements of our students, identifying the strengths and areas of improvement related to students' well-being, and foster an environment that is safe and welcoming for everybody. That's always a work in progress, but I believe we've made great strides in this in a short amount of time. And then finally, our fourth goal was based on communications, community outreach, and engagement. So we enhanced our communications with the community, develop partnerships with local businesses and organizations to benefit our students and parents. Things we've completed thus far is changing over our website, utilizing social media more effectively. I want to commend Mr. Moran and some of his students who are involved with the Prowler, who have really helped us get the message out to the community about the great things that are going on at Bridgewater-Raritan. So we should know that the way we manage communications isn't just through our platforms, but Bruce and his students are in constant communication with other media organizations, whether it's The Patch, the Courier News, et cetera. And it's really come a long way in highlighting the great things that are going on in our school district. And program updates. Ms. Jones and her departments have been busy, as they always are, in updating curriculum and making sure that we are current with our programming for students. And there's quite a bit here. We see that they've implemented the ELA and math standards K-12. That was a new initiative from the state of New Jersey. Intervention program adjustments and resources have been monitored, adjusted to provide the greatest level of service to our students. We're actively planning for full-day kindergarten to the point where we are developing schedules to really plan out what that full day is going to look like. Primary and intermediate schedules have been restructured, and we've expanded dual enrollment opportunities for students at the high school level to earn college credits. At the high school, there are career concentrations that are in year 2. And we've expanded opportunities K through 12 for gifted and talented and advanced classes. We have more kids participating in gifted and talented activities on a percentage basis than we have in 2 decades. And I just say 2 decades because we don't have data before then. Social, emotional, and student wellness. We've implemented consistent character education program for K to 5, partnering with Empower Somerset for suicide prevention, providing loss and grief specialist training. We've implemented a freshman transition program to support the academic and social emotional needs, and we're providing professional development for staff on all of these topics. Some of the highlights for student achievement. We've seen our graduation rate had an enormous uptick in the past year, and that's due to the work and the programs that we initiated at the high school level. AP participation, Mr. Mariello in his testing report showed the public the increase that we've had in participation, especially for the 2024-25 school year. AP scores were excellent. We had a 94% passing rate, meaning a 3 or above on those examinations. SAT scores in Bridgewater-Raritan bumped up after the pandemic, where a lot of places tracked in the other direction. Participation in the performing arts is a very important one as well. Some difficult program, I shouldn't say difficult, some programming changes were initiated 2 years ago that had some backlash, and we said all along the goal of this is to get more kids involved. And alas, guess what happened? More kids are involved, especially at the younger levels when we look at 4, 5, and 6. So participation has gone up significantly, and we continue to make progress on NJSLA. Finances. This past year, we were able to navigate our finances with a 2% tax levy cap. And we should know this is incredibly challenging, where you're capped at 2% in the age of an inflationary cycle. So it's really kudos to the business department, the administrators, teachers, everyone involved, Board of Education, for developing a budget that provides all the resources that are necessary for our students in challenging economic times. So, and I'll say over and over, this board has done a tremendous job with the transparency involved in creating our budget. We're governed by statute as far as when we have public hearings and when things are approved, and the information is readily shared with the public and is easily accessible on our website. As far as finances as well, managing the referendum, this is a $155 million project, and it really takes a team to make sure that these tax dollars are spent wisely and efficiently and effectively. And I'm happy to report out that currently we are on budget. We've had to change some things around to put some things out for rebid from time to time, but the team is working hard to keep us on budget and on target to complete these projects in the time allotted. And this improves the learning environments throughout the district, because we know the main goal is to provide effective resources and learning environments for 8,000 students on a daily basis. As I said with the referendum, looking forward, tonight we are going to approve the bid contract for the auditorium. And I've got a few renderings that are up on these slides. So they're going to replace the chairs, the carpet, really renovate the whole area, plus fix the outside of the auditorium, because I don't know about you guys, but whenever I go there, it's always a little bit confusing as far as what door you use. And when you see folks come in looking for a performance, you actually see them going to different doors. So we're going to try to delineate exactly where the main entrance to the auditorium is. Restrooms Phase 2, that's also going to be approved this evening. Eisenhower and Hillside are going to get restroom updates. Phase 2 of the Basilone complex will be brought in front of the Board of Education in January or February. Again, Windows Phase 2 is in the planning phase. HVAC Phase 2 is in the planning phase. Kindergarten classroom renovations will be put out to bid, and the Bradley Gardens addition will be put out as well. So there's quite a bit going on, for projects in the next year. And then safety and security is something that we continue to advance on, and we continually take a look at our operation and see how we can do things better. We know that nothing in this world is foolproof, but this year the Board of Education, I'm pleased with the fact that we voted to expand our security team. We have excellent collaboration with Raritan Borough and Bridgewater Township, especially with our 2 SROs who are stationed at the high school. This is a photo of the secure vestibules that were placed throughout 10 of the 11 schools throughout our district. We've updated our camera systems, visitor access systems, and it's under safety and security, but it's also student conduct. One of the major undertakings of school administration, the Board of Ed, and me was to really look at our code of conduct and set those high expectations on how people should behave in a school setting. And by having those clear expectations, I do believe, I don't want to report incorrect information, but there has been a substantial drop in negative incidents throughout the district. So we're going to have hard data on that at the end of January once we hit the midway point. But right now the feedback from the schools is overwhelmingly positive, that we set clear standards of conduct. We made it clear that there are certain behaviors we are absolutely not going to tolerate, and students have responded. And then finally, with one and all, it's always important, and the board and community have been behind this, where if this is our motto, we have to make sure we do it. And we've added unified sports programs all 3 seasons. The Bright program, which is our alternative school at the high school, which now has 2 sections. We went through the data today. We're looking at 20-plus students, all right? And these kids are succeeding in high school where they were on the path to not succeed in high school. So again, we've got to remember that, I say it over and over, every student has a mountain to climb, and the view may be different from the top. But that doesn't mean that they didn't have the same challenges and the same effort to get from A to B. Student learning labs, it's another out-of-class support for students who are struggling. This is at the high school level. If they're failing a class, we can get them the help, whether it's through tutoring or other supports, to make sure they're successful. As we said, these are part of the interventions and supports. We have K-12. We've worked tirelessly to put in programs for mental health and SEL. And I've got to say over and over again, our graduation rates are significantly higher. Like I said, a 3% rise in the graduation rate. And when you're graduating a class of 700 students, means that that's 20 kids who would not have graduated who are now walking down that, walking across that podium. So finally, looking ahead to 2025, what are the challenges? We could have a challenging budget season in 2024. Governor Murphy and the state have come out and said that the state coffers really aren't what they hoped they would be. And the messages that they're putting out towards schools is to not count on additional aid and even prepare for cuts. So it could be a challenge. Other challenges is that we're opening our kindergarten pilot in 2025, both at Adamsville and JFK. We're opening our 6th grade wing in 2026. So we've got construction and grade shifts, K-3, 4-5, and 6-8. And also this year, we're having our transportation analysis. So there is quite a bit going on in the district. There's a lot to be proud of. There's a lot to be happy about. And there's a lot to look forward to. And once more, I want to thank the teachers, the staff, the administrators, central office, and the Board of Education for really remaining committed to this mission of reimagining the Bridgewater-Raritan Regional School District. And finally, a couple things. We want to continue our focus on educational excellence and equity. And I say over and over, you're probably tired of hearing it. Equity to us means this, that no matter what school you enter in kindergarten, no matter where you're from, no matter what your circumstance, that you have the same opportunity as a kid on the other side of town. So we want to make sure that things are equitable and that opportunity is the same for all kids. And look, I want to commend the tireless work of a lot of people in this organization. We've got a group of folks who don't complain, they grind every day, they get things done, and sometimes I'm tired of looking at this list, but I'll end today with a quote from big influencer David Goggins, who says, you don't quit when you're tired, you quit when you're done, and we're not done. There's a lot to do here. So thank you, and let's have a great 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Beers, for that summary. Do you want to take any questions or new business? I'll take any questions. Anybody have any questions or want to follow up on that? All right. Seeing none, we're next on to the student report. Young ladies here.
Good evening. So first I wanted to talk about Ms. Superintendent Beers. You talked about the social media increase across the district, and I would like to say anecdotally, I do feel this is working. Our new college counselor, Ms. Kaiser, has an Instagram page, and I've heard from a lot of peers, they were hearing about some schools coming to visit from her Instagram, and I personally learned from her Instagram as well, so that's been very helpful. Speaking of college applications, a lot of the seniors are going to get their early decision, early actions back this week and the coming weeks. We also had a student who was recently admitted through QuestBridge and another one who was awarded the Naval ROTC Marine Corps Scholarship, so that was exciting. For our clubs at this school, Model UN just had their parents' night where they could have parents come in and talk a little bit about what the club is so they feel a little safer with their kids going. We did an alumni meeting to get the kids really excited about where this club can take them in the future and what they can do with the skills they learn. And we're also preparing for a home conference in January. The Academic League has just won their first competition against Somerville. And the Mathletes have a competition tomorrow at the school where they're inviting a bunch of the other schools from around the area to compete as well. And like Superintendent Beers mentioned, the Prowler, we had our Quill and Scroll Journalism Honor Society induction ceremony. It was first charted in the 80s, but we just revived it this year. So we're hoping we get a lot more kids excited about being in this society and expand it to other journalism at the school. Our theater department just put on their fall play. Some of you might have heard. They did Radium Girls. There was really good turnout. A lot of people enjoyed it. And they thought it was both entertaining and important because it was such a monumental story in New Jersey's history that happened up north. And the theater department has already announced auditions for their spring musical. And finally, some updates on our music department. The winter concert for the choir is this coming Monday. and they're going to be singing a bunch of multicultural holiday music with a senior solo celloist to accompany. And as some of you might know, today was the winter orchestra concert.
In addition, winter sports started 2 weeks ago. They had like 2 weeks break, including swimming, bowling, and bowling has a new coach, Miss Kusmal. Winter track basketball, ice hockey, who actually beat Central last week for the first time in 10 years, and wrestling. And as Mr. Beers mentioned in his presentation, the high school implemented a new freshman transition program, and the BR ambassadors are one part of them. The ambassadors are a group of juniors and seniors who go into freshman health classes like once a cycle, to kind of mentor the students about high school and help them like transition. I think my friend who's a part of this program, she talked about procrastination in her last meeting, I guess, in her last class, and how like to combat it, how to like, work around it. So yeah. And the program has been going really well, and it has been generally well received and is very effective. Last Wednesday, our high school's college and career counselor, Ms. Kaiser, gave the junior parents information about the college process. She said that the parents were instructed on how to start the college search process, factors to consider, and ultimately helping their child find a college that is a good fit for them. It was held in the large cafeteria and was recorded for those who missed it. And in the past, the junior parent nights the junior parent night is in the springtime, but moving it up was especially effective, like moving it up to now, because more and more students are applying early action and early decision to colleges. And I believe Mr. Hemberger said it was about like 60% of students this year, so it's really helpful for them to help like get started earlier and thinking about it. And lastly, to kick off the holiday season, the high school sponsored the Giving Tree Project, a nonprofit organization that supports children in foster care by fulfilling their holiday wish lists. It arrived at the high school on November 21st and will remain until December 18th. And student and staff are encouraged to select a tag from the tree and purchase like the requested items, which a lot of the times are like essentials like clothing and like other stuff like that. And Miss Schulte, the librarian and the organizer, said that every year I never have a tag that's not taken, and it really shows how good and giving the people are here, which I thought was really heartwarming. So yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? Do you guys have any questions, for instance? Well, thank you guys for coming. You're more than welcome to stay if you'd like, but feel free to leave, depart. Wish you all happy holidays to you, and enjoy the winter break. Relax. And any early actions coming next week? 2 days.
All right. Good luck on
Good luck with
everything,
that.
ladies.
You know, you
Good luck.
did a good job, and you put it out there. Good luck. So thank you.
Good luck. You're doing a great job, and I hope you have a restful holiday break because it's well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next up is the President's Report. I just have one thing to talk about this evening. We have a board member not returning next year, Ms. Freelander. So we have some things for him and to let her embarrass her, maybe, I don't know. And I would like to express the board's sincere gratitude to you, Stacy, for your dedicated service to our district, your commitment to providing our students with a quality education and truly aspiring. Your hard work, insightful decisions, unwavering support have made such a significant impact. We're incredibly fortunate we've had you as a member of the school board, and we wish you the best in all your future endeavors. I'm sure you will not be gone from us. We'll see and hear from you. We also have some special things for you. So Jen has some, but you get a plaque recognizing. Yeah, we can go out there, recognizing your service.
Yeah, don't trip over that wire.
You get a plaque of recognition of your service. Thank you. Thank you. And you also get a gold card. It's like you can get into anything for lifetime free. Oh. And I met a board member who was still attending from the 1980s, had his gold card still being used. He attended the reopening of Basketball Field, Bob. So it was me. He still had it. So thank you so much. appreciate it. All you've done in 10 many years and then. Stacy, yeah, feel free.
Okay, I promised Barry I would be short. So good evening, everyone, Superintendent Beers, administrators, fellow board members, guests. As we sit here tonight reflecting on the past 3 years, I'm struck by how transformative this journey has been, not just for me, but I believe for the students and families we serve. 10 years ago, I never imagined this moment. Back then, I was just a parent, teacher, and a passionate advocate working tirelessly to ensure our youngest learners had access to full-day kindergarten, and all of its benefits became a priority in our elementary schools. I advocated for the kindergartners struggling to find their footing, whose potential just needed the right foundation to flourish. I spent many years meeting with superintendents and administrators, working not only towards full-day kindergarten, but also advocating for character education programs. I built relationships within the district, ones that I still have today. It was this work as an advocate that enabled me to find the footing to run for the Board of Education. Fast forward to today, I am humbled beyond measure to have spent these last 3 years sitting on this board, advocating for the very same students who inspired me all those years ago. This role has been more than a responsibility, it is a privilege and an honor. Nothing has made me prouder than being a voice for our children and families, ensuring their needs, hopes, and dreams remain at the heart of every decision we make. Being a part of the full-day kindergarten referendum was the biggest part of my mission. I know I can walk away knowing I did what I said I was coming to do, and I'm so proud of this entire board. The past 3 years have reaffirmed my belief that when we unite with purpose, when we choose to listen and to lead with empathy, we create a district that not only educates its students, but uplifts them. And as I think about the road ahead, I know the work we've done together has planted seeds that will continue to grow. I'd like to encourage other parents and members of this community to consider running in the future. Many out there have spoken up in so many ways and are true advocates. Their voices are much needed now and in the future. However, I know in these times, politics has discouraged many from taking this step. I'd like to remind those people that I was subject to the same when I ran, but when you know you are in it for the right reasons and you know that your moral compass guides you to the things that are important, it is impossible to drown out the voices of those who seek to destroy the good work of this amazing district. Rosa Parks once said, "You must never be fearful about what you are doing when it is right." I hope to see more people step up in the future, and I ask the community to continue to reject politics in the Board of Education campaigns, always. Thank you to each of you for your dedication you bring to this table, and thank you for allowing me to be part of this meaningful journey. It has been, without question, one of the greatest honors of my life.
I'm going to ask for all the comments, Dan, if you don't mind. We can continue if you're okay with that. Thank you, Stacy. That was lovely. Moving forward, we have the committee reports, the academic committee. Mr. Joshi.
Great speech, Stacy. The committee met on December 5th at 5:30. In attendance were myself, Ms. Calistri, Mr. Pepe, Ms. Jones, Ms. Mattia, Mr. Moriello, and Mr. Beers. The first item on the agenda was review of curriculum and textbook list. The committee reviewed the district's approved textbook list, which is done annually, and there were no questions. Item 2 was change in high school social studies sequence. Ms. Jones explained a change in the sequencing of high school social studies courses, which will begin in September 2025. Students will take US 1 in 9th grade, the academic or the honors portion, which will allow students to move forward, move from honors to APUSH, which is AP US History, US 2, in 10th grade. The district will also introduce AP World for the class of 2029, which isn't currently offered. Finally, AP Human Geography will be offered next school year as an elective. and this was widely discussed during the strategic planning. This came up a lot, so we will have geography. Textbooks will be piloted in the spring and recommended for September. The committee supported this change. Any questions? Okay. Number 3, instructional schedules for K3 and 4th grade and 5th grade. Ms. Madia reviewed the first iteration of the proposed K through 3rd grade and 4th and 5th grade schedules. The goal of the scheduling committee is to create optimal master schedules that reflect opportunities for equitable, high-quality instruction that meet the needs of students and align with our district's values. This includes meeting all mandates, such as 150 minutes HPE, and implementing world language, WL, and increasing time for science, social studies, intervention, enrichment, small group instruction. There was feedback from the committee regarding the length of some periods. Based on feedback from the committee and administrator team, schedules are continuing to be revised. The next step is sharing possible schedule with staff. Any questions on that? Okay. Item 4, the BRHS Arts Education Course Proposal. Mr. McCarthy reviewed proposed changes for 3D visual arts and 2 new music electives at the high school. The visual arts recommendation is a rebrand of existing ceramic courses that creates an opportunity for students to explore a wider range of 3D art and design applications. Semester music electives will increase the accessibility of music education to a wider segment of BRH's student body. Any questions on that? Okay. Item 5 was Ms. Jones provided an update on counseling programs, including partnering with Empower Somerset to implement the Lifeline Suicide Prevention Program and providing loss and grief specialist training through Imagine Grief Counseling Center, and it's on our agenda for tonight. Any questions on that? Okay, our next meeting is to be determined.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we have community relations. Ms. Calistri?
The next meeting is to be determined.
Finance, Facilities, and Transportation, Mr. Singer.
We met on December 5th at 5 o'clock. In attendance was myself, Ms. Hasuna, Ms. Lochran, Mr. Lumsky, Mr. Beers via telephone, Ms. Goldman, our architect, and Mr. Letzo, our projects coordinator. Construction manager, thank you. Up first on the agenda was a discussion of our project updates. Ms. Goldman of Solutions Architecture and Bob Letzo, our referendum construction manager, thank you, informed the committee of the 5 bid openings that took place in the recent weeks. The 5 bid openings were for electrical upgrades, the Bradley Gardens Cafeteria Addition, the auditorium renovation, Eisenhower and Hillside toilets, and HVAC at a number of elementary schools. We had a discussion of current projects change orders that took place for their following projects. Windows Project Phase 1, all schools are complete with the exception of Adamsville and Eisenhower, which are expected to be completed by February. The secure vestibules, projects A and B, and the middle school restrooms and Basilone Fieldhouse site work are all substantially completed and in the punch list phase. The change orders needed for secure vestibules, door thresholds, and electrical repair fire alarms for Basilone projects. HVAC projects at Hamilton, JFK, and Van Holten are expected to be substantially completed over the summer. With regard to the grandstands, there was the grandstand project saw delays in receiving the certificate of occupancy. The discussions took place between the architect and the Department of Community Affairs, DCA, on the interpretation of the building code requirements for the storage portion of the grandstands, and it was determined that a fire alarm installation and removal of a portion of wall panels would satisfy the building code. A change order was discussed to address the additional work needed to obtain the CO, and the addition of a mesh banner will cover up any open areas. That's on the tonight's business agenda. Discussion of 2 renovations at the high school to convert storage space to a guidance counselor office and renovate an engineering lab classroom are also on today's agenda for the architect approval of the architect costs. The committee supported awarding bids for the high school auditorium renovation and the Eisenhower and Hillside toilet renovation projects. The other bids are going to be rejected and rebid. The committee also supported the change orders, use of contract allowances, to engage the architect to design and submit to the Department of Education the 2 proposed high school renovations, which will be acted upon at tonight's meeting. That was a lot. Are there any questions?
On the bandstands, it was my understanding that the delay was due to codes that were unique to Bridgewater, that it wasn't really an oversight that these have been installed in a lot of different places, but the codes in Bridgewater were different than other places. Is that correct?
There was definitely a different interpretation. But yes, that's correct, that this is unique to us.
So,
As a matter of fact, I think the contractors and the suppliers of this have said they've never had to do this before. But hey, we work. I think it's an example of hey, we work through what we need to work through, and hindsight's always 20/20. And it was one where hey, the plans were approved, and we were able to go through and construct this. But then on final inspection, there was a problem, and likewise. Would have been a little less painful if we knew where things were up front. But look, things happen, and it's a large construction project, and we move on.
And a bright side, that mesh band that's going to be on the back is going to be branded, so that'll look nice. Any other questions on that?
so I have a question about the codes. We actually had heard of the state codes and the national codes, correct? So the Bridgewater codes, they're not local codes that we adhere to. Is that correct? I just clarifying what Jen said.
And as Steve said, it was the interpretation of the code.
The state and national building codes.
And our
Okay.
architect spoke to interpreters on the state and international level.
Okay,
So.
thank you.
Next on the agenda was the business agenda review of tonight's business agenda. The business administrator reviewed the draft action items for tonight's meeting with special attention to the purchases section, and the consensus of the committee was to approve the action items. Any discussion can, of course, be done during the business agenda portion tonight. Next, we talked about a 2024 Clean School Bus rebate program. Mr. Lumsky informed the committee of our federal rebate program available to school districts in which funds can be awarded for the replacement of a diesel-powered school bus with an electric-powered school bus. And the consensus of the committee was to support the rebate submission. We discussed that it doesn't obligate us to do anything. It's simply if we get that, if we win this award, we can then decide whether or not it's worth doing based on the amount of money that is awarded to us. But it's a good thing, and Mr. Lumsky brought it to our attention, and we're very happy that he did. Any questions on that? Next, we talked about the budget update and calendar for the 25-26 school year. Mr. Lumsky shared the anticipated revenues for the 25-26 budget and reviewed the structural budget issues that are typical of all districts working within a 2% budget cap. The exceptions to exceeding the 2% tax levy cap were also discussed. The committee recommendation is that the state aid expected to be received at the end of February, well, all right, not a recommendation. State aid information is expected to be received at the end of February, and the tentative budget will be reviewed at the March meeting. Any questions? We then discussed the reorganization date. Mr. Lumsky discussed the changing of the reorganization date from January 2nd to January 7th. And then other matters, the committee welcomed Mr. Lumsky as our new business administrator to the district and offered their assistance should it be needed. We adjourned at 6:50 p.m. and our next committee meeting, like all the others, are TBD.
One question I forgot to ask before. Sorry. The federal rebate program for the replacement of diesel-powered school buses. How long does that go for? Is it 1 year basis, or you can roll it over?
As of now, the deadline is January, and that's the last one that we know of.
Any other questions? Just checking. Liaison and delegate reports. Oh, personnel. I'm sorry. Personnel, Ms. Freelander. Oops, I skipped you.
Well, it's okay. The Personnel Committee will be meeting again in January after reorganization.
Thank you. Liaison and delegate reports. Anybody have any?
Okay. I would like to report something. On November the 14th, at the town council meeting, there was a proclamation issued to Emil Lopata for honoring the life and service of him. Emil was a crossing guard for about nearly 2 decades, and per the proclamation's language, Emil's selflessly protected and guarded our community's children, endearingly calling them my kids, and ensuring the safety passage of countless students at Van Houten School. And he was loved and known as the grandfather of Stony Brook. Emil passed away on June 12th, 2024. And he will be dearly missed and remembered. The cross that he had guarded was named Emil's Crossing at this proclamation. I want to say thank you to Emil's family, and the community members like Emil for the support of our schools and kids. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, I have two updates. This Saturday was the semi-annual delegate assembly for the NJSBA. There were 75 districts in attendance. There were a couple of things that delegates were asked to pass along to their boards. The first is that new member or in-person orientation, a weekend-long conference, will be held on January 24th through the 26th and February 21st through the 23rd. And registry, it's a great program, and it is free for board members who are new. And registration for that always goes fast and opens on January 2nd. So if there are any new board members who happen to be out in the audience, you can definitely take advantage of that. Also, one of the things they asked us to bring back to the board was a reminder that there is a connections platform as part of the NJSBA website, essentially a message board to interact with other boards and other board members from across the state. There's a lot of conversations that mirror what's happening in boards like ours. It's a good place to go to ask questions or to get feedback or thoughts onto how districts and individual board members are approaching some of these issues. So there's one main forum, essentially, and they are about to be rolling out 2 new ones specific to questions for new board members and a platform specific for board presidents and board leaders. So that is on the NJSB website with your login, and they encourage everyone to check that out, whether you participate or just go ahead and read that. There were 7 resolutions considered. 6 of them were passed on topics from increasing financial wealth education, excusing absences for military enlistment, kids who are going to the military to make sure that they have the days off they need to go and complete their enlistment and go through that process. Changing the bylaws to try to get resolutions out to boards a little bit sooner. There was also a lot of discussion about that did pass about a resolution to consider how to move forward with the Open Public Meetings Act, considering that at least the Ledger and a number of other print media are going away in the very near future, and it's anticipated that who knows if there will be any in the next few years. So again, these were all resolutions for things that the NJSBA will be advocating for at the state level. There was also a resolution passed on involving school districts in pilot discussions when towns are considering passing pilots, which leads me into my Raritan Borough liaison report. At the last 2 board meetings of the Raritan Borough Council, not board meetings, council meetings, there was an ordinance introduced to introduce a pilot program relating to the redevelopment of the Raritan Mall. Even though it hasn't gone through the full process, It is expected, pending a few meetings of the planning board, that a 275-unit or so apartment will go up. Also be some retail space, and that will include lower income housing. And at their next meeting, it's expected that there will be agenda item for final passage of that pilot project. Just putting that out to the board.
Mike, do you want to explain what a pilot is? Because, I mean, we're not flying a plane here, right? You're not piloting a
So,
plane,
so
correct?
pilot, as I understand it, is, and feel free to correct me, is payment in lieu of taxes. So when there's an area that is in need of designated, and there are criteria from the state as being in need of redevelopment, it's not necessarily advantageous for a developer to go in and redevelop that without, there's a good chance they won't make back their money when you consider if they're paying the market rate for property tax. So you can go in, again, following a bunch of criteria from the state that I don't completely understand, and you can set a portion of your profits or a portion of the entire project costs paid to the municipality and a little bit to the county over the course of time, usually around 20 to 30 years. So it locks in a consistent payment for the developer, so they can, which encourages them to complete the project and reinvigorate the economy in a certain section of a town or a certain area. How was that?
Well, what did you leave out there?
Well, one of the things is that the money goes, as I said, to the municipality and a little bit to the county, but the schools are not automatically a part of that. So I'm not sure. I know in limited cases, there have been instances where districts have negotiated portion of that to go towards the schools, whether in a one-time payment or for a specific thing, a specific item that they're interested in acquiring, or like a playground or I think Warren Township got some printers out of a pilot deal that went through. As far as I know, I've not seen the potential pilot agreement. As far as I know, it does not include anything for our school district, but I would be happy to look into it with the district's help and this board's help. Because there does, while these units are not expected to bring in a large number of students, certainly there are almost certain to be some.
Exactly, and one of the suggestions that I'll have for the board, and it depends on board leadership and how the whole unit wants to go, is that we need to take a look at the community relations committee that we currently have and really get people on board for that committee where instead of what we've done previously to really go and say, hey, let's develop these contacts, let's develop these relationships with our municipalities, so at least we can begin having the discussions on what the potential impact is on these projects. The difficulty, right, is even the project in Raritan. I mean, what are we talking? 5 years until a shovel's in the ground, right? There's environmental remediation, there are all these things. So it's difficult to really argue the hypothetical. But where districts have been successful in negotiating with communities is when they say, look, we've built X amount of homes in this pilot program, and we're gaining, I'm throwing a number out, 100 students. Look, this is the cost of those 100 students. Is there any way that we can do that? And some districts like East Brunswick have been able to do that. Now, nothing's foolproof or what have you, but I think it would really be something that's positive if, as a board, we had members and at least we have those conversations as they're going on. Because, look, the municipalities they have a challenge as well, where they have to. The fourth round of affordable housing came out, and they have to produce X amount of units to be in compliance with that statute, and that's not easy as well. And we know the ratio a lot of times when people build housing units, it's either 80-20 or 90-10 to make sure that the numbers work out, so the builders will do the project and make a profit. So anyhow, I mean, it's to be continued, right? But I don't know what anyone's thoughts are.
And going back to your
If
report in the
anything,
delegate assembly, there was a resolution that passed in the delegate assembly to go in the policy book to advocate that the school boards get some negotiation on the pilot committee, correct? That passed, am I correct?
Yes, that did pass pretty solidly. I think it was one of the more overwhelming
90,
passes
like
of the
3% didn't get there, somewhere in that
of the
range?
morning. And there are also bills working their way through the legislature to that through the state legislature to that effect as well. Now those bills may come up every year that I'm not sure about, but there does seem to be a push towards, at the very least, involving the school district in the conversations, if not necessarily giving them a final say.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, I think, and it's, so in this conversation, we're not alone in this conversation. It was numerous districts that have, referenced it. I think, what was that, where was that one from, Mike, do you know? What
That
district
came
brought that
from, I believe it was Verona in Essex
Right.
County.
So Essex County, so I know what's happening in Essex, it's happening in Union, it's happening in Somerset.
And it happened
so-
here, there was this board in 2019, I believe, passed a resolution advocating for, again, not demanding a say, but just wanting to be part of the conversation with Raritan and Bridgewater. I'm not sure if those conversations happened.
never happened.
It was sort of right up against the global pandemic, so that's understandable. But it might be good to go back and see if there are any conversations that have happened before, and if there's any way to maybe restart some of them for the benefit of everybody.
Great.
So, Mr. Beers, thank you for that idea. I think it's a good step forward in general, and also if there are more of these moving forward.
Any other delegate liaison reports? All right, seeing none. Item 10, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the November 12th meeting of the regular session of the Board of Education? Oh, I forgot about that, yes. Sorry about that, excuse me. Open to the public. Individuals and/or groups are invited to present their concerns, comments, and requests regarding the following action items to the Board of Education at this time. In accordance with board policy, a member of the public is allotted one opportunity to address the board for a maximum of 5 minutes during this period of the meeting. Please be advised that a video recording of this meeting will be posted on the district's website. All right, seeing none. Item 11 on the agenda, approval of minutes of the November 12th regular session meeting of the Board of Education. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any discussion? Seeing none. Can I do a roll, just a voice vote on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion, minutes approved. Action items. Personnel, 25-14 through 25 through 15. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Seeing none? Kevin, call the roll, please.
Ms. Friedlander,
Yes.
Ms. Hasuna,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Mr. Singer,
Abstain?
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Pepe,
Abstain on Personnel 2515, and yes on Personnel 2514.
Ms. Calistri,
Yes.
Ms. Lochran,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes. Motion carries?
Passed, yeah.
Passed. Thank you. Curriculum 25-37 through curriculum 25-41. Is there a motion?
Second.
Ms. Friedlander,
Is there any discussion? Sorry. You beat me to it, Kevin.
Yes.
Ms.
Wait,
Hasuna.
is it-
Oh, sorry.
Was there any discussion? Seeing none, Kevin, can you call the roll, please?
Ms.
Yes.
Friedlander, Ms. Hasuna,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Ms. Calistri,
Yes.
Ms. Lochran,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes. Motion carries. Business 25-66 through business 25-84. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'd like to thank the Azil Krim Hamilton Hillside Schools for getting from the Samoon Hillside Student Grant for $500. The Van Holt PTO, and the Bridgewater Middle School PTO for their donations. We appreciate it, and I thank you for helping impact our students' learning. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Kevin, you call the roll, please.
Ms. Friedlander,
Oh, wait,
Oh.
you have a question?
Oh.
Lucy.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it
Yeah,
or hear
sorry.
you.
On business 2580, I think it's in our goal notes and in the committee report mentioning a portion of that fund comes from the allowance. I wonder, like, what's the other portion that would be come from? 2580.
Could I just ask you to speak up? It's hard to hear you. I can't understand.
Okay.
You can make it louder on the side, Lucy. There's a volume.
Oh, there is?
I got the 2580 part, but I didn't understand. Like, I didn't hear what you said.
Yes. So I was trying to ask from the committee report and from the goal notes that we were reading, there was explanation of what this allowance would cover part of that, and I didn't see like if there's a area that mentioned.
2580, there was no, that is a bid. So the allowance that you're talking about, part of that is for, well, we're using the allowance for the grandstands, right?
Is the question on the grandstands or the middle school edition?
Let me see. Yeah, I'll have to look at my notes, but I think Steve knows what I'm talking about. Or
Is it 2579?
If it's the grandstands, then it's part of its use of allowance, and then the excess, which I believe is a few $1,000s, is over budget,
okay.
over the use of allowance. So
No.
it's a true change order.
So that would come from change order from. I just want to understand the process how that might eventually work out. How does that change of order would work out eventually?
So that's under 2570 right now. The field house renovations, that's what that is. And then under Nickerson, it says grandstands. That's the change order. And then the rest is the allowance.
Okay. So looks like you have all figured that out in the committee, and
The committee was informed of the change orders and the allowances.
okay. All right. That's my question. Thank you.
Any more questions? Seeing none, Kevin, call the roll, please.
Ms. Friedlander?
Yes.
Ms. Asuna?
Yes.
Mr. Joshi?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Pepe?
Yes.
Ms. Calistri?
Yes.
Ms. Lochran?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Motion carries. Special Services 25-16. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If so, it might have to be done in closed session. But any discussion? Seeing none, Kevin, call the roll, please.
Ms. Friedlander?
Yes.
Ms. Asuna?
Yes.
Mr. Joshi?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Did I
Yes.
skip anything?
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Pepe?
Yes.
Ms. Calistri?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes. Motion carries. Other 25-17 through other 25-18.
So
Is there a
moved.
motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? This would have to be done in closed session, if there is. Seeing none. Kevin, you call the roll, please.
Ms. Friedlander?
Yes.
Ms. Asuna?
Yes.
Mr. Joshi?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes on other 2517, no on other 2518.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Pepe?
Yes.
Ms. Calistri?
Yes.
Ms. Lochran?
Abstain on 2517, no to 2518.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Motion carries. Policy 25-10. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I want to make a comment, not a discussion. I want to thank the district for making this change to this policy. I think it will be a welcoming and inclusive practice for our homeschool communities. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Mr. Lomsky, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Friedlander?
Yes.
Ms. Asuna?
Yes.
Mr. Joshi?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Pepe?
Yes.
Ms. Calistri?
Yes.
Ms. Lochran?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Motion carries. Now we're up to the second open public comment area. Individuals and/or groups are invited to present their concerns, comments, and requests to the Board of Education at this time for any matter. In accordance with board policy, members of the public are allotted one opportunity to address the board for a maximum of 5 minutes during this period of the meeting. Please be advised that a video recording of this meeting will be posted on the district's website. Please state the name and town where you're from, and you should sign in also. Thank you.
Hi. Okay. Yeah. Good evening. My name is James Arcario. I live in Bridgewater in the Bradley Garden section. My concern here is what you had briefly touched upon, and that's transportation analysis. I live on a corner that over the years has become a lot more congested and a lot more active. My wife and I have raised concerns to the transportation coordinator. And quite frankly, if we don't follow up, there's no follow through, right? We don't get any emails back unless we email them. And the reality is we were requiring busing for our children. There is a street there, Brahma Avenue, that has no sidewalks. In fact, a lot of if anybody is from Bradley Gardens or not, a lot of the streets there do not have sidewalks, or there's sidewalks on maybe only one side of the street. Nevertheless, constantly all we do in the morning or in the afternoon is see children walking down this street, with no sidewalks. We live on the corner, and across the street from us is a sidewalk. However, there's no crosswalk. There is no sign that children may be crossing. There's no crossing guard. They said that for my children to walk to school, they would have to basically jaywalk, from my driveway to another person's driveway. And then again, across that same street at a later point to reach another sidewalk to then go all the way around and walk to the back of the school, which would take a very long time, but it's never here nor less. It's really it's the safety that I'm concerned with. And so after we reached out, they had said that, okay, well, this is a long-standing, historical mapping for busing. We asked for them to raise it. They did. They sent the police out. The police came, Bridgewater Police Department came out. They took a look. They agreed with us that a lot has changed in the neighborhood. Sycamore Avenue is a main artery to get to 202 now from the back way. A lot of people go that way. And to be polite about it, people, they drive slightly fast there, all right, which is being very kind, right? There's no, like I said, no stop signs or anything like that. No even painted lines on the street that would indicate anybody would be crossing. So the police completely agreed with it. They wrote a report and sent it back. And then I waited weeks. My wife reached back out. And they had said, oh, well, now we need to get the township engineer involved. And like, okay. And then I just had sent them an email asking, okay, can you just lay out the timeline for us? Like what comes after the engineer? Like what's just to set our expectations. Kind of got no response at all. That was, and I have the email communications here. That was on, okay. The fact that they were going to reach out, the Bridgewater Township engineer, was on October 9th. This all started in the beginning of September, obviously the beginning of the school year. So on October 9th, they said they were going to reach out to the engineer just to see their thoughts, which we thanked them for. And then that was October 9th. I followed up with an email on November 22nd because I didn't hear anything since then. Just kind of voicing, explaining my concern, obviously polite the whole way. And then that was November 22nd. The response I got was on November 26th. And at that point, they said, oh, I just reached out to the engineer. So a month and a half went by, no engineer was contacted. And it's just indicative of everything that we've been dealing with. If we don't follow up, there's no follow through. Like I won't hear, like if I don't follow up now, and that was November 26th, if we don't send an email again, we won't hear from him. And it's frustrating. I know a lot has changed in the neighborhood, and I just don't want us to wait for something bad to happen to a child before we take action. that's really my piece, and looking for any help that I can get, leveraging anything that you guys can do to, get some kind of movement or communication here. Like I said, the police department agrees with us that things have changed. And anybody that's driven over there knows exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura Kress. I'm the president of the Bridgewater-Raritan Education Association. And I know that when we have celebrations, the people run out of here because, does anybody really want to sit in? No. So, so anyway, I wanted to congratulate Jackie. I also wanted to wish everyone a happy holiday season. Have a nice break. Looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward to negotiations. It'll be my last one. So I am looking forward. I feel like we, we've built a relationship over the last few years, and though we may not agree on not anything. Whoa, everything, right? Oh, okay. We may not agree on everything. I think that we at least respect each other, and so I'm looking forward to working together on that. And we have a little change happening here with the board, so. We'll see what happens. So anyway, that was it. And Stacy, that's another reason. Sorry, we're going to miss you. Okay, thank you.
Hey, everybody. It's been a long time since I've been here. My name is Deanna Nye. I am the Director of Education Advocacy with the New Jersey Coalition for Learners. As a parent who once had children walk the halls of your schools, I understand the tremendous value of the educational opportunities provided by our district. As the director, I am personally, and sorry, I always get nervous when I have to talk. I am personally hand-selecting the best districts in New Jersey to invite to participate in the 2025 New Jersey Education Expo on January 25th, 2025, which is a Saturday, everybody. Last year was a Friday in Trenton. This year it's a Saturday in Somerset. So at the DoubleTree, we will have vendors, we have charters, we have private, we need public schools. Public schools are very important to the conversations that we are having. Now, every conversation that I have had with National School Choice Week in Texas, they do things a little bit different out there. They can just up and decide, hey, guess what? We're all gonna go. I don't know if I'm gonna get the bid in 2 years. I work very hard to get my bid for this event. It's going to bring families and educators together to have a full-on discussion, celebration, talk about all the different models that we have, how they impact all our children, and how we can better serve them. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing, I'm going to close that. Next on the agenda, old business. Is there any old business to discuss?
I just wanted to, I had asked Mrs. Jones if she could expand a little bit on what Empower Somerset was. I think it's a really important program, and I'm happy that we're bringing it to the district, along with all the other supports that we have. And I just thought it was important, and Mr. Beers mentioned it in his report, but I thought it would be good if we could have a couple extra sentences on it, just so that it was made known. Thank you.
Yes, especially because we adopted the memorandum of understanding tonight. Yes, so the partnership with Empower Somerset is actually a grant. So they partner schools with a trainer, and the trainer comes in and they provide training for a cross-section of our staff, so counselor, CST, at some point it will be all the HPE teachers, administrators, and it's really it's evidence-based program. There is curriculum involved too, but it's really prevention, suicide postvention, and suicide intervention. And depending on like the stakeholders' role in the district, you might receive different levels of training. So some people will receive all of it, and there are people who will be doing preventative lessons. There are people who are on our crisis teams who will receive different training. But it's ongoing. It'll start actually this spring, and it will continue through next year. So that's what it is.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. I just thought it was important for all of us and the public to know, and I think it's great that the administration brought it to us.
It's an excellent nonprofit organization. It's been around Somerset County for 40 or 50 years, evidence-based. But I think our guidance counselor was very instrumental, one of our supervisors, in bringing them in. Christine, the director, is lovely. I know her well. So, and my friend's the president of the board. So it's an excellent organization. I'm glad we're working with them. So, any other old business? Shoot.
I know it's already been brought up, but the Radium Girls play that was this past weekend was tremendous. But something of note is after the show on Saturday, I was there. My daughter was a part of it. I was taking pictures at the stage, and a woman came up and was, I thought, a parent, and she was taking pictures. They had a gravestone of one of the women who had died, one of the Radium Girls, and she was taking pictures of it, and she wasn't taking pictures of any children, just the gravestone. She was the great-granddaughter of Catherine Schaub, who was one of the Radium Girls, and she heard about the show and came and wanted to see it here. And we were one of 3 districts that put on the show in the past 2 weeks. But I thought it was tremendous that she saw it. It was advertised, and she came to be a part of it, and it was very important to her to see that gravestone, and it was interesting that she came. Yep.
Any other new business?
Yeah, I also I went with my daughters. We couldn't stay through the whole thing because it was a little too much emotionally for us. But what we saw of it was brilliant. We learned a lot, actually, historically, and also the choral and band programs at the elementary school was really profound and a testament to the talent of our teachers in this district. And I wanted to comment on both, Mike, the delegates assembly. I'm so glad that you were the liaison for delegates because you've brought so much back. And I think in terms of like the community relations committee going forward, I think it is a great opportunity to look into, and I look forward to discussing it more.
Kind of just to follow up on that, maybe folding in some of the functions that the legislative committee would perform along those lines.
Yes, exactly that.
And I should also say for the Delegates Assembly, thank you for, Ms. Lee was also in attendance personally, and Mr. Singer was watching from afar. So it's always good to have feedback and back and forth with both of you during the proceedings. So thank you both for supporting me as I represented the district. Thanks.
Any other old business? New business? Is there any new business?
Just that I shared a tentative Board of Ed calendar for next year. So I was hoping everyone could take a look at it and provide feedback. So then if we have the votes, we'll certainly push it forward in January at the reorg.
I have a question on the one that you sent out. In August, there's the 26th regular session, and then in parentheses it says district goals. Are we doing the district goals at that session, or are you anticipating to have a retreat to do goals?
It will be up to the board.
Okay.
Past practice has been done in a separate retreat. So That's been past practice. I know some other board members have suggested that we put those in the calendar now. So I just one comment, and then, you can incorporate that however you want, though. I had reached out to the NJSBA field service representative to do the ethics training. They book up very quickly, so I had asked her availability in February and March, and she was only available on the 25th of February, which was the previous date. So I had tentatively scheduled that with her and let Mr. Beers and Mr. Lomsky know that. So if that date could be, I had let Bob know earlier today. That's the one item that I brought up as a change to the calendar.
That would be something, we could easily change that.
Yeah, that's the only.
And June 10th would be the superintendent's evaluation, so that is no public session, but that's on the calendar. Okay.
I think it's also worth noting for the public that there's a proposed change to 7 o'clock for regular meetings under this calendar. I think that's a positive move. I remember when the meetings used to be, before I was on the board, were at 8 o'clock, which was quite late. And 7:30 sometimes also feels a little bit late. So I know that when we do have members of the public here, usually there's a group here before 7:30. And I know most of the board can make it for our closed sessions to start before then. So I think that's a good move for the staff and the board and the community.
I like this third iteration of the schedule.
So I've raised concerns about it, reducing the number of meetings before. Under this calendar, and this I think is certainly a better compromise from having it once a month. But right now, like looking at between September and October, there's like a 5-week gap in between meetings, and it just seems like a lot of time, and I'm concerned about that the extent of that gap. When there are other weeks, for example, February has 2 meetings, and then the 3-week gap, and then the 3-week gap to April, and I think that's a little bit more appropriate. So I just, just looking at October, there's nothing until the 28th, and that just struck me. So.
Is that due to the convention? Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
Convention's the 20th through the 24th.
Sure, we choose, if the 14th works better.
So are you looking for us to just respond to, so we're ready to go for January?
Sure.
Perfect.
And like some of the comments that were brought up this evening, as far as, right, we've got Board of Ed training scheduled tentatively for February 25th, so I could go ahead and make that change from February 18th to the 25th. That makes sense. Steve's suggestion of October, hey, 5 weeks may be a little much, so to go from the 28th to the 14th, right, to incorporate changes like that.
I appreciate that, and that will then, though, be a 5-week between October and November.
Yeah.
But we're usually only
I
have
can
the
tell
one
you,
meeting.
November, December are kind of slow business months, so to speak. Right, we know a lot comes on in August, September, as well as March and April.
Was there any consideration to changing the public comment to earlier in the agenda?
That would be entirely up to the board or whoever board leadership is, because, look, we know by statute you need 1 public comment by law. You need 1. You don't need 2. And traditionally, I think it's always been done here, once for agenda items, 1 is after, but you could certainly, at the beginning, just have public comment, and then you go on with your agenda. Is that what you're talking about, Chair?
So it could be a public for agenda items and any item?
Yeah, just
anything.
in general, so then these folks who are here tonight wouldn't have to wait 2 hours.
Right.
Especially if the meetings were longer, because they would more likely more likely to have a longer agenda, and more presentations and what have you.
Any other comments on new business?
If I can chime in on this calendar as well, I feel like our board meeting is the occasion that the board come together to do business. I think it's important that we have it on a regular basis. I feel the board meeting serves the purpose. While we do board business, we're also connecting with the community, because the community members can come and speak with us during this time as well. Irregularity with expectations like every other week gives this anticipation, and people can plan if they would need to speak to us. I think a longer time in between or a somewhat different schedule to change around makes it harder for that channel of communication. That's why there's no concern in addition to what have shared in the past meetings. Thank you.
So you're asking for more meetings, less meetings, irregularity? What are you asking for?
I think we used to have like a bi-weekly meeting, like every other week we would have one. There's regularity to that. It also gives us the opportunity.
Bi-monthly, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
bi-monthly.
bi-weekly we're not going to have.
Bi-monthly, yes, thank you. Every other week.
All right, I'm like just checking. Just checking.
Bi-monthly, and
okay.
and there
Well,
were
you know-
times like over the summer
Yeah.
since I've been here, there's never been two over the
No,
summer.
that's fine. But people all understand what during summer things are slowing down and our schools are not in session. But during our school time, I feel like this regularity helped our board and helped the community. Yes, that's in addition to what I've shared. I think what we have been doing in the past years have worked, and it should continue to work.
We can always do better.
Yes, I think the way that's proposed to change is not necessarily better. I think what we've been doing is, in my opinion, is better.
Any other new business?
Stacy. Yeah, we have just had a lot of different stories together, and we started off like doing a charity, and then we were opponents in an election, sketchy election, and then we've agreed about things, we've disagreed about things, and thanks to you, I got a scholarship to do something that was always a lifelong dream. So I'm gonna miss you, man. I'm gonna miss you so much, and I hope you enjoy the free time.
Same. Stacy, thank you for your friendship, advice, and guidance. You have really supported me. 6 years ago when I first ran. And I think I've gained a true friend, lifelong friend, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Stacy. Thank you for being an excellent role model as a board member, for being an advocate for everyone in the district, and for encouraging me to do this. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Just thank you for, always working constantly on behalf of children everywhere in our district, and for just welcoming everyone, welcoming me to the board when I came on, and we'll miss you very much. So thank you very much, but keep in touch. Let me know if there's any new hot sauces coming out. So.
I also want to say a few words of thank you to Stacy. It's been an honor and pleasure to serve alongside with you. And on many issues that we either agreed on or disagreed on, thank you for listening and the mutual respect and working together collaboratively. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? I'm going to have one last statement. I'd like to express my thanks to everyone for a fantastic first half of the year. We should feel incredibly proud of the amazing things that are happening in our district. Thank the hard work and dedication and achievements of our students, staff, and families. I'd like to wish everyone a joyous and happy holiday season filled with peace, love, joy, and happiness. May the new year bring you health, prosperity, and continued success. And we look forward to another year working together. And Stacy, would you like to have the last motion?
Oh, yes, please. Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, we're adjourned. Thank you.